So week 3 is here of the fantasy basketball season. It's moving pretty quick so far. Here's a few centers though that shouldn't be part of your roster, and you should drop here heading into the week. The first guy's Hassan Whiteside of the Sacramento Kings. Hassan Whiteside, he came back to the Kings this offseason to the league minimum, and right now the last few games he just hasn't played major minutes at all. Since December 27th, he only played 10 minutes. 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Then December 29th, 13 minutes of work, 2 for 7 from the field, 6 points, 5 rebounds. And then after that, the last 2 games, I mentioned it in my daily recaps of games, that Whiteside, he's getting out of the rotation on coaches' decisions, and they're not playing him. And then at Houston, in back-to-back games, he played 3 minutes in the last 2 games, and tonight at Golden State, I doubt he's going to play much. It's going to be a small ball type of game. And right now, Hassan Whiteside only playing 10-15 minutes the whole season. The last few games, not playing at all either. He's not worth a roster spot. He's been dropped already in 8% of fantasy leagues. And that number's going to go up if he's going to sit out most games. And it's troubling to me that they signed this guy and he's been out. And he's got 4 games on the slate this week. So Hassan Whiteside, he's going to be the first center I'm going to drop. He's not playing, and there's no point to have him on your team. The second guy is DeAndre Jordan of the Brooklyn Nets. Jordan, he really hasn't been doing much this season, and I've mentioned it too about him in some of the stat lines. And right now, he's only playing 10 to 20 minutes at most for this net team. Obviously, he was never a huge scorer, and with Durant and KD there, those points, they're never going to be big games. And right now, he's only giving you mediocre stat lines. The last few games for him, they've been nothing special. December 30th, 2 for 2 from the field. Obviously, 100%. 5 points, 1 rebound, a steal and a block. But he only played 15 minutes, 18 minutes of work versus Atlanta on New Year's. 2 for 2 from the field, 100%. 8 points, 5 boards, an assist and a block. And then last night versus Washington, only 15 minutes of work. Again, 2 for 2 from the field, 4 points, 5 boards. So DeAndre Jordan, the minutes aren't there. He's maxing out, it seems like, at 4 or 5 boards a game and only scoring 6 to 8 points a game. And he's not really getting even a block a game pretty much. He's not worth the roster spot. He's not getting a lot of usage. He's not getting a lot of playing time. And there's better options at center this week on the waiver wire, which I made a video about. So go check that out if you haven't. And Jordan, I think those guys are better that I mentioned in that video than him. So he's worth a drop. And already his percentage has dropped 3% in the last few days. And he's still owned in 59% of leagues. But if more slow games and not playing enough minutes, his percentage will drop more. In the final center, I would drop this week's Daniel Theis of the Boston Celtics. Theis, he was on the list last week. And he's still owned in a decent amount of fantasy leagues at 44% for the Boston Celtics. Theis, he's playing 20-25 minutes a game, but he's been inconsistent. He had a good game last night, I know, versus Detroit. 7 of 8 from the field, 15 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a 3, and he added that 3, like I said. But besides that, Theis, he's had mediocre games this season. 10-3, 2-5, 4 points, 4 boards, 4 points, 4 boards again. 12 points, 4 boards, 2 points, 6 boards, and 3 blocks. He's really only going to help him block shots. He'll get a couple boards here and there. He's not really a scorer. So yesterday's game versus Detroit was a fluky one, in my opinion. So Theis, there's a lot of centers there in Boston as well. You got Robert Williams and Tristan Thompson who are getting playing time as well. So Theis, I don't think he's worth the inconsistency and a roster spot. So I would drop him. So that's a few centers I would drop here heading into week 3 of the fantasy basketball season.